I'm Steve Lascauzo, and this is The Way. You're listening to This is The Way podcast's review of Skeleton Crew Season 1, Episode 8, The Real Good Guys. It's all over. Skeleton Crew finished the season, and maybe the series. I would love if they came back with an anthology series where they got us a whole new crew. Maybe some kids of Imperial officers that had to reintegrate with society. Maybe some kids of rebel pilots who sacrificed themselves for the rebellion and the freedom of the galaxy. Maybe kids who are just normal everyday kids trying to make it in a galaxy that is really difficult. This show was great, but I don't know how much more we can do with Wim, Fern, Neil, and KB. As much as I love them, those kids are going to get a little bit older, and they've already had an adventure, and part of the joy and the excitement for us watching this series was getting to see them, so sheltered, go off and have an adventure. A real adventure, as Wim said in episode 1. I really enjoyed this show, but probably more so because I got to enjoy it with my family. I think I did the right thing by introducing clips and the teaser trailer and the trailer to my eldest daughter, and I really, really played it up with the hope that it was going to be good. Now, I like John Watts. I've had discussion with friends about some of his other projects, and we all like a lot of his stuff. The Spider-Man series of movies. Old Man was another series that he did for Hulu that was really well done and well written, acted. It was a great series. Skeleton Crew was made for kids, but adults can enjoy it. And there was enough for Star Wars fans who weren't really interested in this group of kids. There was enough there of expanding some of the lore of the galaxy, and you had a lightsaber. Andor famously doesn't have any, but this show did integrate a little bit of that. I really enjoyed the show, but again, it's because I could enjoy it with my kids. Speaking of, my daughter has done her first, now 8 podcasts with me, and it's been something that she says she's wanted to do. She wants to do her own stuff like Minecraft and Roblox, and maybe just talk about what it's like being an elementary school kid. I don't know. But I've been asking her the questions for 7 episodes. So this last one, I decided, you know what? I'm just going to hand over the reins and let her do her own thing. So what you're going to hear is the review of an 11-year-old. Pretty much the target audience according to Lucasfilm and Disney+. Well, if you want to know what an 11-year-old thinks about Star Wars, then you can listen to this.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Wow. What a great series, and what a very great last episode. I guess it's only me, but who knows? Your host will normally be speaking with you anyway, so my turn. Yay. It was interesting to see how Jod turned out at the end. He gave a little bit of his backstory, and we never really knew what happened to him. KB, she almost died. It was very scary. They got really sad, although I didn't like the part where Firm screamed no. That part was really awkward. But, it was relatable. They didn't want to see KB go. And Wim, he must have thought how sad it was. He had just saved her life a few episodes ago, but then he watched as he crashed. She crashed. But for the most part, I really liked how the X-Wing and all the other fighter jets, they come in and they go boom boom, and the pirate ship goes whee, crashes into it. I bet all their ancestors will have quite a story to tell. I really liked how the parents went through a change too. They all met up at the end like I predicted. There was pirates in the scenes. They all had a battle-ish. It wasn't really a battle. It's more like they were like, hey, I'm gonna invade your house. I'm like, oh no. But anyways, the real good guys, they won. And that is the ending I like to hear.
I like her.
It was interesting to find out that the supervisor was a droid. I can't believe that after all that time, they had a droid to look after them. Great work. Must have been really a great work, because having a droid to lead a bunch of human and alien people is not a really good decision. I hope that maybe Undersecretary Farah, or maybe Wendell, or one of the kids' parents, or maybe all of them, maybe they'll all govern the planet of At-Attin. But what interests me a lot is that there was a moon. Whatever that moon was, maybe they'll go to the moon or explore the moon, just like we did. So, that's all I have to talk to you guys about today. And let's resume with my dad.
Thank you. This is the way. This is the way.
I'm proud, not just as a dad, but also as a trained broadcaster. I think she's doing a great job, and I can't wait to see what else she'll help me with later this year. Probably not Andor. Andor's a little much, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Now, this is it for the Skeleton Crew. There's no more episodes, and I don't think there's going to be a second season. I don't see how they can do it. I would love for them to announce, like I said earlier in the podcast, an anthology where they give us a new group. I think there's a lot more you could do with Jod, but let's get some new kids involved. The galaxy's very big. Let's see how kids in other sectors of the galaxy are faring. I think that would be a great way to continue the show and give it some longevity where you won't have to rely on getting those same kid actors in the same situations. And it opens up the stories. You could have an echo of the story because it's something that kids go through, the coming of age aspect of it. I think there's a lot you could do there. I really hope they do. But if they don't, it was a great one-off series, and I think John Watts can be proud of it. It's not a perfect show by any means. I had a friend tell me that they were confused about some of the plot elements. I'm not so thrilled with some of the liberal representations that they did on the show as a Christian, but I really enjoyed the show, and that's what it's all about. Let me enjoy Star Wars, especially with my kids.
If you wish to become a Mandalorian, there is much work to attend to.
So we have Andor coverage coming up later in the year. We have monthly Star Wars news update podcasts. And this February 7th is another Star Wars podcast day. It's a celebration that we take part in every year because we're not just honoring the first ever Star Wars podcast way back, 20-something years old. But Star Wars Podcast Day is only a few years old, and we're proud to be a part of that. We've celebrated and taken part in every single one, so you can look for a special episode of This Is The Way podcast on February 7th, 2025. If you want to be part of our discussions, you can send us email, thisisthewaypodcast@gmail.com. You can also interact with us on one of our social media accounts. Usually @thisisthewaypod is our handle, but the best way to get in contact with us is email. That's the one thing that I make sure I check every single time I'm doing a podcast is, did we get any viewer feedback? Thank you for joining This Is The Way podcast for our Season 1, Episode 8 review of Skeleton Crew's The Real Good Guys. It was the finale, it was great, and now it's time for us to move on. I'm your host, Steve Loscalzo, and this is The Way. May the Force be with you, always.